I can't do a video like that. I can't do a video like that. That is way too much. Does that work? Close enough. I guess the best way for me to do this video is just to sit over to the side, because as you can see, my parlor palms take up a lot of space. And that's the plant we're going to be talking about today. The Chamaedorea elegans, aka the parlor plant or the bamboo palm. Now, I have gotten a lot of these through my mystery boxes with JM Bamboo, and I have been so happy every time I've received them because they are really hardy plants and they're really, as you can see, they are really good showstoppers, which is why they were so popular during the Victorian era. Plus, the Victorians loved it so much because it was able to thrive in their cold, dark, unheated homes. And that is one of the reasons I love it too. It is such a hardy, beautiful, idiot-proof plant. Originally, it's from South America and Guatemala, and I can't find any information on when it was first discovered. The best information I found is that it was introduced to Europe in the 1800s. Why we can't find any information about anything before it was introduced into Western civilization, I can't say. Draw your own conclusions for that one. But regardless, I'm glad it was introduced nonetheless. Little fun fact about this, because it is a historied plant in Western culture, it has a lot of lore around it. Having a parlor palm in your home is believed to bring you good luck, prosperity, except if you shake it like that, and positive energy. One cool thing about the parlor palm is that it is an air cleaner, and so it's able to filter out airborne toxins like benzene and formaldehyde, which was probably pretty useful in Victorian homes that had a lot of bad stuff in the air. According to the ASPCA, Chamaedorea elegans is pet friendly, so it's safe for cats, dogs, and horses. The coloring of it, as you can see, it's a pretty solid green all the way through. It doesn't really get a lot of variegation or variety to it. Most likely the varieties you're going to see are different frond structures. And in terms of size, as you can see, it can grow pretty high. It's known to spread as an indoor plant about 2 to 3 feet wide and can grow up to 4 feet high. However, in the wild, they have found plants that have grown up to 8 feet high. So never stop believing that your plant can get a little bit taller. You may not think that this plant would flower, but it can. It's actually one of the few palms that will. Its flowering is typically sprays of these really cool little balls of flowers that are either a pale or really bright yellow, maybe sometimes even white, and it can bloom multiple times. So if you make it so happy that it decides to bloom, it can keep happening. Good for you. So let's talk about the care requirements of Chamaedorea elegans. I love elegans. Love that. It is elegant, isn't it? You are elegant. Light requirements, it can run the gamut in terms of light needs. If you have a low light home, it'll do okay, but it mostly prefers medium indirect bright light. So don't put it in front of a window unless you have shades or curtains or something that can help filter the light. Water routine, again, it's pretty idiot proof. Water it once you feel like, put your finger down about like 2 inches, and if it feels dry down there, it needs some water. And the best way to figure that out is to stick your finger in, and if it comes up clean, that means it's dry. This one feels a little bit moist still, actually. But fertilizer, you want to fertilize it based on its natural life cycle. So spring and summer, those are its growing seasons. That's the best time to fertilize it. Don't do it in the winter when it's hibernating and just wants to chill out. My favorite fertilizer is Schultz All-Purpose, because like this plant, it's also idiot proof and can run the gamut in terms of houseplants. But whatever you've got lying around, just make sure it's diluted, because this plant can get fertilizer shock. Soil needs, so it's originally from tropical climates, but unlike calatheas, which are also from tropical climates, it doesn't like to sit in really moist soil. So you're gonna want a well-draining soil blend. If you can find a blend that is designed for palm or citrus trees, that's the one you wanna go with for this. Temperature requirements, it can survive in as low as 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius, but for it to really be happy, you want to put it somewhere in the range of 65 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 27 degrees Celsius. One thing I found during my research for this is that it actually is a plant that prefers a lot of humidity, which is surprising to me because you don't really think of, I mean, it's a palm, but you don't really like, if it's been doing okay in old Victorian homes, that's not a very humid place. So I was surprised to see that it actually is a plant that prefers a lot of humidity, anywhere from 50 to 70% humidity. However, since it is a really tolerant plant, if you don't have a super humid place, it'll do just fine. It just, if you want it to be the happiest plant possible, you want to have a high humidity around it. And the way it propagates is like calatheas, through division. Right now I only have one plant in here, but if I had a second plant, you would see a second stem. Oh, actually this one. We'll do an old switcheroo. This one has 3 in here. See? 1, 2, 3. What I would do if I wanted to propagate this is pull it out and cut the bulb to divide it and then just plant it all separately. But I don't want to. It's fine as is. If you want to repot your plant, something interesting is that when you think of palms, you think of just giant trees, right? That most likely have a really well-defined root structure. But parlor palms have shallow root systems. In my repotting video, one of the ones that I repotted was a parlor palm that was in a pretty shallow pot, and I was surprised it was doing okay. But it turns out it's cool. So consequently, you don't want a pot that's very deep. It doesn't need that. And if the pot is too deep for the plant, that's a situation that can cause root rot to develop. So make sure that even though it gets tall, it doesn't need a ton of support down at the base. Some, but not as much as you would think. So let's talk about the problems that come with the parlor palm. First, it is a pest-loving plant, but not as pest-loving-y as a calathea. Its main critters are aphids, mealybugs, scale, and whitefly. If you see any of those on your plants, act as quickly as possible. There are different methods that work for different bugs, so we won't get into that. I'll do another video later where I cover that, and I'll put it here so you can check that out. Let me see. I know I have it on some, is this the one that I have it on? No? Oh, this one. Let's switch it again. If you look, this guy has leaves. There we go, perfect. This guy has leaves that are discolored, and they have faded colors to them. What this means is that my plant got too much sun, had a little too much fun in the sun, and it burned. So what you want to do is move it to a place that gets less light, or put up some shades or curtains or something so that the light is better filtered. If you get brown tips like this, that is most likely a sign that the humidity is too low for it. But it can also mean, and I think this is the case with this guy, it was getting hit by drafts. I think that where I had this at my old house had some drafts because it was a home that was built in 1930, so it wasn't a very insulated house. And consequently, my poor plant got a little too close to some drafts and got some brown tips on it. So if that's happening to you, first check for drafts. That's the easiest thing to do. If you don't notice any cold airflow around it, check your humidity levels. If it's not very humid, then what you can do is put your pot over a shallow dish that has some gravel or rocks in it and put water in that shallow dish. That will help raise the humidity levels around the plant. And finally, one of the biggest problems that people will run into with the parlor palm is yellowing leaves. Yellowing leaves typically means something is in excess, is either too much sun or too much water. So triage it that way. Check the soil. Is it really moist? If so, then you're gonna wanna repot it in fresh soil that isn't soggy. If that's not the case, then check where it's placed and make sure that it's not getting any direct bright sun. But that's it. That is the parlor palm, the bamboo palm, and I'm creating a little tropical oasis in here trying to talk to you. Look, now I've got a little frame. Again, this is one of my favorite plants just because it is so idiot proof and so tolerant to thumbs of any shade of green. So if you want to pick one of these up, absolutely recommend. And if you want to see even more idiot proof plants, check this video next. I'll see you over there.